Welcome back to Grow with Tony. I'm so glad you could join me today because we are going to tackle a dilemma that absolutely every single investor faces at some point in their journey. Let me paint a picture for you. You are looking at the stock market trying to figure out where to put your hard-earned money. On one hand, you see these incredibly exciting, high-flying growth companies. You know the ones. They are the tech giants, the innovators, the companies making headlines every single day. Their revenues are skyrocketing, their products are changing the world, and their stock charts look like a rocket ship taking off. You want a piece of that action. Who wouldn't? But then you look at their price tag. You see price-to-earnings ratios of 50, 80, maybe even 100 or more. It feels like you're showing up to a party right as the lights are turning on, being asked to pay a premium just to get through the door. You know that if these companies miss their earnings target by even a fraction of a percent, the market will punish them brutally, and your investment could get slashed in half. So you look at the other extreme. You look at value investing. This is the world of the bargain hunters. You find companies that are cheap. They are trading at low multiples. Maybe they're old legacy brands, traditional banks, or older industrial companies. The price looks incredibly safe, but as you dig deeper, you start to wonder, are they cheap because they are a hidden gem, or are they cheap because their best days are behind them? Are they a classic value trap, a dying business that is just going to slowly bleed your portfolio dry? The anxiety of choosing between paying way too much for growth or buying into a stagnant value trap is paralyzing for a lot of people. It is the eternal tug-of-war in the financial world. But what if I told you there is a third way? What if there is a strategy that bridges this massive gap? A smart, calculated middle ground where you can actually buy strong, growing companies, but absolutely refuse to overpay for them. Today, we are doing a massive deep dive into exactly that. We are talking about GARP, growth at a reasonable price, and we are going to tear apart one of the most fascinating ETFs on the market that executes this strategy perfectly, SPGP. Before we dive into the details, please remember that this podcast is strictly for educational purposes and is not personalized financial advice. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and you should always check the latest data on the Invesco website before making any investment decisions. Alright, let us start by defining exactly what SPGP is. SPGP is the ticker symbol for the Invesco S&P 500 GARP ETF. Invesco is the asset manager behind this fund, and if you have been in the investing world for a while, you know Invesco. They are a massive, highly reputable global firm that manages trillions of dollars in assets, most famous perhaps for their QQQ ETF. But SPGP is a completely different beast. It is specifically designed to track the S&P 500 GARP index. Now, this ETF actually has an interesting history. It has been around for over a decade, but it underwent a significant transformation a few years ago. It used to track a broader, different index, but in 2019, Invesco updated the methodology to specifically pull from the S&P 500. That change was brilliant, and since then, the fund has gathered billions of dollars in assets under management. It is a heavyweight contender in the ETF space. It trades on the NYSE Arca exchange, which means it is highly liquid, easy to buy, and easy to sell through whatever brokerage app you use. Now we have to talk about the cost of admission, which is the expense ratio. When you buy a standard plain vanilla S&P 500 index fund, you are usually paying a microscopic fee, something like 0.03%. SPGP, because it is actively running a complex, rules-based strategy, charges a bit more. Its expense ratio sits around 0.36%. What does that actually mean in the real world? It means that if you invest $10,000 into SPGP, you're paying about $36 a year in management fees. Is it the cheapest fund in the world? No. But you have to ask yourself what you're paying for. You're paying for a completely automated, incredibly rigorous screening process that constantly curates your portfolio to find the perfect balance of growth and value. For $36 on every 10 grand, many investors find that to be an absolute steal, especially when you look at how it manages risk compared to a basic index fund. To truly understand why SPGP is so special, we need to take a step back and talk about the philosophy that drives it, GARP investing. GARP, as I mentioned, stands for growth at a reasonable price. The concept isn't new. In fact, it was popularized heavily in the 1980s and 1990s by Peter Lynch, the legendary mutual fund manager who ran the Fidelity Magellan Fund and wrote the classic book One Up on Wall Street. Peter Lynch realized something profound. He realized that pure growth investors were often taking on massive, unnecessary risks by paying exorbitant premiums for hot stocks. When you pay a PE ratio of 100, the company essentially has to be perfect for the next decade just to justify the price you paid today. Any hiccup, any slight slowdown in sales, and the stock price collapses. On the flip side, Lynch saw deep value investors constantly stepping on landmines. They would buy a stock just because its PE ratio was 5, completely ignoring the fact that the company's revenues were shrinking by 20% a year. GARP is the rejection of both of those extremes. It is the Goldilocks approach to the stock market. You want the porridge that is not too hot and not too cold. Let's use a real-world analogy. Imagine you are buying a house. A pure growth investor goes to the hottest, trendiest neighborhood in the city. Everyone wants to live there, so they buy a house for $1 million over the asking price. They are betting that the neighborhood will somehow become even more popular and someone will pay them $2 million over asking in 5 years. It might happen, but it is highly speculative. The deep value investor goes to a rundown, abandoned part of town and buys a crumbling house for almost nothing, hoping the city eventually decides to build a new subway line there. The GARP investor. GARP investor looks for a beautiful, newly renovated home in a great, quiet neighborhood that happens to be listed by a seller who needs to move quickly and is offering a 15% discount. It is a great asset, bought at a logical, fundamentally sound price. By doing this in the stock market, you dramatically reduce your overvaluation risk. You are locking in a margin of safety while still capturing the upside of a growing business. So how does the S&P 500 GARP index actually do this? It doesn't use human emotions or gut feelings. It uses cold, hard math. Let me walk you through the exact journey a stock takes to get into SPGP because it is fascinating. The universe starts with the famous S&P 500. These are the 500 largest, most profitable companies in America. That is your baseline. Right off the bat, you are excluding tiny, risky, unproven penny stocks. From that pool of 500, the index sets out to find the growers. It calculates a growth score for every single company. How does it measure growth? It looks at two incredibly important metrics over a 3-year period: earnings per share growth and sales per share growth. Why both? Because sometimes companies can artificially boost their earnings per share by doing massive stock buybacks, even if their actual business is stagnating. By demanding both earnings growth and sales growth, the index ensures that these companies are actually selling more products and services to more people and turning a real profit from it. Once it finds the companies with the strongest growth scores, it doesn't just blindly buy them. This is where the reasonable price part kicks in. It takes those high-growth companies and subjects them to a brutal valuation test. It calculates a quality and value composite score. To do this, it looks at the financial leverage ratio and the return on equity. It wants to know, is this company heavily in debt? Is it using its money efficiently? Then it looks at the price-to-earnings ratio and the price-to-book value. But the absolute most important metric it looks at, the holy grail of GARP investing, is the PEG ratio. Let's pause and talk about the PEG ratio because it is vital to your investing knowledge. PEG stands for price to earnings to growth. It was another metric championed by Peter Lynch. You take the standard PE ratio and you divide it by the company's expected earnings growth rate. For example, if a company has a PE of 20 and it is growing its earnings by 20% a year, 20 divided by 20 gives you a PEG ratio of 1. Generally speaking, a PEG ratio of 1 means the stock is fairly valued. If the PEG is above 1, say 2 or 3, you are overpaying for that growth. If the PEG is below 1, say 0.5, you are getting a massive bargain on that growth. The SPGP index heavily favors companies with low PEG ratios. So it runs all this complex math, scores all the companies, and then ranks them. Out of the original 500, it selects approximately 77 to 78 stocks that possess the absolute best combination of strong growth and reasonable valuations. And it doesn't just do this once and forget about it. The index rebalances twice a year, usually in June and December. If a stock in the portfolio goes on a massive run and suddenly becomes way too expensive, the math kicks it out. If a new company starts growing rapidly while its stock price lags behind, the math brings it in. It is a systematic, emotionless machine designed to buy low and ride the growth. Because of this incredibly specific selection process, the portfolio composition of SPGP looks vastly different from what you might expect. If you buy a standard S&P 500 index fund today, your money is overwhelmingly concentrated in the technology sector. In fact, a handful of megacap tech stocks, the Magnificent Seven, make up a massive percentage of the entire index. If tech has a bad day, your whole portfolio has a bad day. SPGP breaks that mold completely. Because tech stocks often trade at massive, sky-high valuations, the GARP methodology naturally filters a lot of them out, or at least significantly reduces their weight in the fund. Where does the rest of the money go? It goes wherever the value and growth are hiding at that exact moment. Often you will see much higher concentrations in sectors like healthcare, financials, industrials, and right now, a very important weight in energy. You won't just see the usual tech suspects dominating the top. Instead, you might see names like EOG Resources, Host Hotels, or Royal Caribbean. You are getting exposure to energy producers, hospitality, and travel companies that are steadily growing their businesses but are ignored by the flashy tech investors. Furthermore, because SPGP only holds around 77 to 78 stocks, and because it weights them based on their growth and value scores rather than just their sheer market size, your concentration risk is drastically lower. You are not betting your entire retirement on whether a couple of giant tech firms have a good quarter. The weightings are spread much more evenly across those 77 or 78 names. Now, one thing to keep in mind regarding this portfolio is the turnover rate. Because the fund strictly adheres to its valuation rules, and because it rebalances every 6 months, the turnover rate is significantly higher than a passive index fund. The names inside the ETF will change. You have to be comfortable trusting the methodology, rather than falling in love with the specific companies currently inside the fund. So how does this beautiful theory hold up in the real world? Let's talk about historical performance. If you look at long-term, rolling periods, SPGP has an incredibly impressive track record. But the most important thing to understand is when it outperforms and when it underperforms, because that comes down to market psychology. Let's look at a raging speculative bull market. Think about the post-pandemic boom of 2020 and 2021. Money was virtually free, interest rates were zero, and investors were throwing cash at any company with a promising story. In an environment like that, pure growth funds will absolutely crush SPGP. Why? Because SPGP is disciplined. It looks at a stock trading at 200 times earnings and says, no, that's not reasonable. It sits out the wildest parts of the hype cycle. What happens when the music stops? Think about the year 2022. Inflation spiked, the Federal Reserve aggressively hiked interest rates, and the era of free money ended overnight. Pure growth stocks, those companies priced for absolute perfection, got absolutely decimated. Many dropped 50, 60, even 80%. And how did SPGP do? Well, it didn't magically make money, but it showed incredible resilience. It held up much better than pure growth funds. While the broader S&P 500 dropped by about 18% in 2022, SPGP only fell by about 14%. It still hurt, but because its companies were already trading at reasonable valuations, they had a massive cushion. They didn't have as far to fall. And as the market recovered, SPGP captured that upside beautifully. Looking at recent years, 2023 saw phenomenal gains of 20.28%. And that momentum continued, with 2024 delivering an 8.48% return, and 2025 showing a solid 9.78%. When you look at the big picture, SPGP historically provides a much smoother, less terrifying ride than pure growth strategies. It acts like a shock absorber for your portfolio during turbulent economic times, while still pushing you forward when the skies are clear. Let's summarize the pros of this strategy. Number 1, balanced exposure. You do not have to choose between growth and value anymore. You are systematically capturing both. Number 2, it avoids extreme valuations. In investing, the price you pay determines your rate of return. By refusing to overpay, you are mathematically increasing your chances of long-term success. Number 3, it is vastly less speculative than pure growth investing. You are buying established, large-cap companies that are generating real cash flow right now. And number 4, it provides phenomenal diversification away from the top-heavy tech stocks, spreading your risk across different, robust sectors of the American economy. But as with everything in finance, we have to look at the cons. There is no perfect investment. First, as I mentioned, is the underperformance during euphoric growth rallies. If the market decides that valuations simply do not matter anymore, SPGP will lag behind. You have to have the psychological fortitude to stick with the strategy. Second, it is crucial to remember that SPGP is a 100% equity fund. It is entirely made up of stocks. It carries full market risk. It is not a defensive asset like a U.S. Treasury bond. Finally, the success of this fund relies entirely on factor timing. It assumes that the stock market will eventually reward companies with strong earnings and low valuations. Historically, that is true, but there can be multi-year periods where cheap stocks stay cheap and expensive stocks keep soaring. You have to be patient. So bringing it all together, who is SPGP really for? I believe this fund is an absolute powerhouse for the long-term, rational investor. It is designed to be a core holding in a portfolio. If you are an investor who looks at the current state of the S&P 500, where just a few massive tech companies dictate the direction of the entire market, and you feel uncomfortable with that level of concentration, SPGP is your answer. If you are terrified of the high-priced earnings multiples in the market today, but you still want your money to grow aggressively over the next 10 to 20 years, SPGP is your answer. It is for people who want a smarter, more tactical exposure to the market. Before we get to the final verdict, let's do a quick, concise summary of everything you've learned in this episode. Today, we learned about the concept of GARP, growth at a reasonable price. We discovered how this strategy avoids the dangers of overpaying for hyped-up growth stocks while dodging the dead-end businesses known as value traps. We explored the inner workings of the SPGP ETF, learning how it starts with the S&P 500, mathematically screens for companies with genuine earnings and sales growth, and then strictly filters them using valuation metrics like the PEG ratio. We learned that this process creates a unique portfolio of approximately 77 to 78 stocks that is less tech-heavy, leans into sectors like energy and financials, and historically provides a smoother, more resilient ride during market downturns, like we saw in 2022, while still delivering strong positive returns in recovery years like 2023, 2024, and 2025. And then that brings us to the final verdict on SPGP. Is this a core ETF? Yes, it absolutely can be. It is one of the most intelligently designed, deeply rational funds available on the market today. It truly shines its brightest in choppy markets during periods of high interest rates or in environments where the broader market valuations feel dangerously stretched. However, you should probably avoid it if your goal is pure, aggressive, short-term capital appreciation, or if you firmly believe that the current megacap tech monopolies will simply continue to grow without any valuation corrections. SPGP requires patience and discipline. It is the smart middle ground, proving to the world that you really can have your growth and afford it too. And thank you so much for tuning into this deep dive on Grow with Tony. If you found this breakdown valuable and it helped you understand the market just a little bit better, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And I want to hear from you. Head down to the comments right now and let me know what topic, what ETF, or what investing strategy you want me to cover next. Just tell me what you want to learn and I will go do the research and make an episode about it. But even if you don't have a topic in mind, just say hi. I love reading your comments. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and invest smart. See you in the next one.